Zara says, I appreciate your walking me along the path to avoid the traps. Take me to Chief Suit Scale. So the little kobold gatekeeper runs ahead. Also, I mean, they've animated them so they're so freaking cute. I mean, look at that little guy. So he stops at each place, and we're going to disarm each trap. Follow me. Let's follow him. Oh, see, look at that. He actually shows you through. That's cool. We're going to disarm it for the... Okay. And then he goes over here. We're not doing so hot. Don't walk on that trap. I go watch. You go chief far. Our journey into the mysterious dungeon brought us by twists and turns into an old mine. A huge hatch in the floor blocked our way. Its panels were half open and squeaked angrily, threatening to plunge careless adventurers into the abyss below. It stretched from wall to wall, making it impossible to simply walk around this deadly trap. On the other side, Harem noticed a kobold sitting on the ground beside a broken lever. The kobold was holding his head in his hands, but sensing us, he jumped up. He was murmuring, "Break. Oh, bad. Break." And then he holds out a little clawed hand. "Stop! You go! You fall! All go! All fall! Sorrow! Sorrow!" He grew woeful, lamenting he skittered down one of the passages. Lindsay says, "I think he accidentally broke the thing that allows this to open or close. And now he is ashamed as he has lost several friends who have fallen down below. Let's see if I can fix it." "Octavia, can you help me?" she says. Because they both have trickery, we're going to try and jam the doors and deactivate the trap. Yay! Using equal parts wisdom and dexterity, Lindsay helped us all to jam the ominous hatch. Brushing off her hands of dirt and debris, Lindsay says, "We can go ahead now. We can walk right over it. It'll be fine." And to demonstrate, she walks over it herself. Thus, the darkness of the yawning abyss was roundly defeated. Awesome. So we walk across that, no problem. Right before Harem crosses, he says, "It's one thing for a little halfling like yourself to cross, and another for a sturdy dwarf. But, as Lindsay promised, the doors stay firmly shut." There is a cart here. The trolley is jammed. The party will need some special equipment to move it. So this is a nice, beautiful shot of the caves here as you come up here. Showing how deep and intense the roots of the old sycamore go. A kobold flame shaman encourages 3 hapless kobold sentinels in their work of breaking through a very large tunnel cave-in. Perhaps, if we look on the map here, yes, they believe that they can attack the mites by making their way through this area here. I hate to break it to them that with their tiny little swords, they might be at it for a couple of millennium. The kobold shaman eggs them on with a fierce and relentless brutality. The kobolds seem to be good at curing hides and decorating their caves with them. Paintings made with soot. It seems like they're supposed to portray dragons, but mostly just look like cows with wings. The kobolds revere the dragons as they believe, in a very puffed up way, that they are descended from them. There's a lot here. Oh! I love this part. Password, blissfulness. No. Password, blissfulness? No. Password, blissfulness? You fool, get lost! And then he tries to attack him. I don't know if you've ever seen that play out, but I love it. Arriving in front of Chief Suitscale's quarters, Zara bids the kobold sentinels let her enter. Friends, enter. Zara says, would the password happen to be blissfulness? No. That was last week's password. The party walks slowly into Chief Suitscale's chambers. The large area under the sycamore tree has been fortified against any intrusion, especially those of mites. Zara approaches Chief Suitscale with Octavia urging her forward. Having learned her lesson, she does not want to approach without greeting the kobold crier and the shaman, which she does with a nod of the head. Greetings, Chief Suitscale. Greetings, friends. Eating friends. Chief, and the town crier keeps looking over Zara's shoulder at Octavia and blushing as if he has a bit of a crush, since Octavia earlier on paid him a compliment. I ask help. My shaman Tartuk, he go passage under old sycamore, fight might, search relic. I afraid he can't do. Friend find shaman? Kobold attack then! Zara says, so Shaman Tartuk has gone under the old sycamore. He has the other relic. But a little voice has told me that you might have the second. Are you sure this is where Tartuk is? Don't know. I know he leave. Fine relic into sacred hall, he say. Might not go this hall. We have might relic. That's how they can't get in. Shaman Tartuk go in there. We steal their relic. That mean Shaman Tartuk can be in there on his own. But then he not let us in. The sad. Then I will need that relic, Chief Suitscale, says Zara, clasping her hands politely in front of her. If Tartuk is already there, I need you to trust me when I say that he is the true enemy. If Tartuk is already there. And so, would you please entrust it to me? The chief thinks for a while, scratching the back of his head with a clawed finger. Fine. I give my relic. You touch it door and enter, but you return relic after or all my kobolds be after you. Zara says, My goal is to end this. I do not want your relic. I will return it. But it is the relics of the mites. One for them. I will give you back the relic that is yours truly. The one that Tartuk holds. The one that you have given me, I will return to the mites. Consider that fair? Chief Suitscale continues to scratch the scabby part of the back of his head. Agreed. Then Zara says, and to show my good faith, let me ask you, how can I help you in your war against the mites? Well, we kobolds strong, fierce, not afraid. But Mite Queen's strong too. She big-bottomed. Yeah, very strong. Wave scimitar. The chief looks annoyed. You slay Queen. I give reward. If mites run away, no kobold die. Success! Ah! Zara says, the kobold crier looking over at Octavia goes, The crier brandishes his weapon bravely, but he's clearly shaken when the queen is mentioned. Yeah, she's a tough one. Zara says, I am an ally to you both. I take no sides in this conflict. I only wish for it to end, for you to see who the true enemy is. I will not slay the queen. I have helped enough in that way. You have to fight without me. Scared, says Chief Suitscale, and then backs up hurriedly when Zara gives him a very cross look. Lindsay giggles. But I would like to know how the war with the mites is progressing. Is there a possibility for peace soon? We fight mites. Mites break bridge. We break wall. Now all quiet. So I may have been mistaken in what the flame shaman was encouraging those 3 sentinels to do. They might have been breaking the wall to keep the passage between them closed, as opposed to trying to get in there. It's unsure. Zara turns to walk away and then notices that Lindsay is no longer with the party. Lindsay says, Psst, Zara, over here. She points at the little, there's a prison back here. And Zara says, there's someone in your dungeon I wish to discuss. There is a cage, and inside it sits Jethal. Zara is amused to note that her alliance with Tartuccio did not go well. Chief Suitscale says, Tartuk bring them that person. Big human. This dumb head shout silly things. Called Tartuk. Tartuccio. Can't talk good. Jethal says, this little tongue-tied monster accuses me of not being able to speak. Ironic, scoffs Jethal, contemplating her nails. What need of you have of this, dumbhead, as you call them, Chief? Smiling over at Zara, letting that word kind of sink in a little bit. She is just taking up space in your dungeon. Chief Suitscale says, agree, useless creature, release. Zara says, thank you. I'm sure she'll be no trouble and will make her way. back to Oleg's trading post, she says pointedly. Two of the kobolds walk over to the cage and after some fiddling with the door, push it open and says, "Dumbhead! Dumbhead!" Jathal, as if walking out of her own throne room itself, with utter dignity, walks past the kobolds, looking none the worse for the wear. She straightens her clothes as if to eliminate all signs of staying in the kobold prison. "Let us strike out and forget." Zara says, "It seems that your alliance with Tartusio did not go well." Zara can't help but to have a little playful smile on her lips. "Tell me how things, how you discovered his true colors and managed to get locked in a kobold prison." Octavia snickers behind her hand. I think Octavia would probably think something along the lines of, "I had true slaver masters who were vicious. You managed to get locked in a cage by a bunch of kobolds." Jathal clears her throat. "There's nothing to say. The gnome needed servants to seek an artifact." Zara nods. "We are tracking that artifact. We have one of them. He wants to get into the old sycamore hall." Jathal continues. "He's voiceless, diligent, and numerous. He subdued the kobolds by idle talk and trickery. He's a despicable buffoon." And then she brushes off a final piece of dirt on her shoulder. Zara asks Jathal to meet her at the Stag Lord's trading post. However, she does not trust Jathal. She does not like Jathal, and for Zara, the undead is unnatural and untrustworthy. However, she feels an enemy in one's pocket is better than an enemy behind one's back. At least this way she can keep an eye on what Jathal is doing. Jathal walks off, haughty to the last, and Octavia watches her go. She then turns to Zara Faye's sister and says, "As long as I've known you, you've constantly freed people from prisons and chains, myself included. Thank goodness. Is that a coincidence or a good habit?" She says, "It is just a coincidence that I have run across in my travels you and Reganga and now Jathal, who needed to be freed. Though I will say that Jathal, it is questionable as to whether she will use her freedom for good or ill." And then quietly in her head, Zara says, "And I do not like the undead." "Really? You've never freed anyone before myself and Reganga? Well, I consider it a lucky coincidence then." We're going to head out now. Yeah, that's the opening there. Having obtained the ancient relic, the Mite's ancient relic, Zara holds it out to the Mite guards as she comes back from talking with Chief Suitscale and prepares to go find the Hall of the Old Sycamore. The three Mites cheer and say, "Relic! Relic! Relic! A relic! Queen Bdaah happy. Queen Bdaah big beauty. Zara says, I will do so, and then return it to you. Yay! And they wave their scimitars, their tiny scimitars in the hair. In the hair. In the air. All right, so I believe we need to head down this corridor here. Nope, not that one. Down here. And then take a right at the fork. That's a left, whatever. Let's have Zara greet Queen Bdaah and show her that she has the relic in hand. Zara holds the relic out in her hand. Sinchal Vajic, doing his duty as always, announces Zara to his queen. Her Majesty Warrior Queen Bdaah, welcome ally her chamber. And he bends over. Zara says, I have the relic in hand. The queen says, ah, my relic. She yanks it out of Zara's hand for a minute, looking it over, making sure it is the correct thing. She says, I know this as if it were from my very own hand. Ah, good past king. Yes. He made this take from old Sycamore Hall. She hands it back to Zara. Use it. Use it to get into the private chamber. Get Tartuk. Tell him he ugly. Tell him Queen Bdaah say so. Zara says, I will. I must go. All right. So there is, we now can enter in to the old Sycamore Hall. Ancient branches cover the opening to a deeper cavern inside the great old sycamore. Walking up to them, Zara can see a small hole just there. There's another hole just here. There is a relic in one hole already. However, the second hole lies empty. Within it, Zara slots the small wooden piece she has into the hole, and the door spreads apart, the branches opening, creaking, and a hole appears, as if the tree itself is saying, You may enter. Harem says, That's creepy. And the party walks in. Tartuk stands before a
Oh, my impromptu rival. You are late, as always. A little advice, never join any races. Speed is just not for you.
Tartuk stands in front of a portal. He is looking through it as if expecting someone to enter. He holds in his hand a crooked staff, vicious looking even for its small size. Turning and seeing Zara, he doesn't even seem to be surprised. Just his usual look of disdain. Zara goes immediately to the point. What are you looking for here? Why do you need all this? Why do you cause such difficulty between the mites and the kobolds who have lived peacefully here for years? You have stirred up a lot of trouble. Whatever it is you are looking for, it must be worth it.
Don't take me for an idiot. I am not going to tell you anything, even despite the fact that I am going to kill you. By the way, did you know I am going to kill you?
I think you are missing the operative word there, Tartuccio. Yes, And as Zara says the word Tartuccio, the band of kobolds who have snuck into this place with him say, Tartuk, 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 not Tartuccio, you dummy head. Zara ignores their jaunts and jibs and says, I know that you have told these people that you are Tartuk. And what is with this ridiculous disguise? By the way, when I first saw you, you appeared as a gnome, and now you appear as some kobold. I don't know what game you're playing.
Do you mean the performance I put on for the kobolds? Wasn't this an excellent idea? The poor folks did everything I wanted, even started a brawl with their beloved neighbor mites. I did not even need to make any effort to complete my mission. That is why I will always be a step ahead of you and the like.
Octavia goes, who are you calling the like? She's touchy at being sort of brushed off by that after so many years of being a slave and being unconsidered. And Zara turns to the kobolds and says, do you hear that? He has said it with his own mouth. The same thing I told your chief. The same thing I told you. The ceaseless war with the mites. This ridiculous bloodshed. It is worth it. It is not worth it. You have been tricked. The kobolds, one of them even sticks its little clawed fingers in its ears and goes, la, 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 la. Like it's like not paying any attention to what Zara said. It's almost as if they've been hypnotized, which is a possibility. Excuse me.
And this is the person I nearly made the hero of my book? Ew.
Yes, Lindsay. Zara turns to Lindsay and says, you almost made the hero of your book a Pataxian spy. Is that not right?
But you don't know my mission, and won't ever know because I will never tell you, even for the pleasure of seeing your discouraged face.
Zara says, I don't need to know your mission. Whatever it is in direct conflict with mine. I have the order by the Sword Lord Aldori to kill you and to bring your head in for being a traitor and for causing more trouble and bloodshed than it is really worth. And I intend to carry out my mission. Therefore, she says, we will fight to settle our dispute. And I will consider myself the victor. We should have buffed before coming in here. That is for sure. However, let's see if we can be victorious nonetheless. We have Bracken on our side, and as you can see, most of them are targeting him, and that's what we want. We want him to tear kobolds to shreds. Well, at least these kobolds. So Bracken, I don't think you can charge him. Oh, you can. Wonderful. I was thinking because there is a kobold directly in the path, but hey, if it works, it works. And you can see they're all focused on Bracken. That's what we want. But the good news is that he tripped Tartuccio, which means Tartuccio will not get his fire blast spell off, and we will be able to hopefully defeat them a lot easier. So there's Harim. Let's make them sorry that for the day they were born. There we go, and that's what I wanted. Now they all focus on Harim exactly as I wanted them to. Okay, there's that kobold. Whoa, he got that fireball off. He just killed Bracken! Zara goes into an utter rage. She starts screaming at Tartuccio, yelling at him, "That is my friend! How dare you! If he dies, I will tear you apart from limb from limb." And Tartuccio's eyes start to widen. He actually is somewhat afraid. Zara's face is It's as if veins have come out of her neck, but they don't look like veins. They look almost like tree roots, like just coming from her neck and up through her head, and just her hands start to grow a thorny like protrusions on them. She's just infused with rage. Tartusio backs away and is momentarily shaken. Therefore, he will be unable to take an action on the next turn. Lindsay looks nervously at Zara, having never seen such terrible pain and rage in another human being, and how Zara's started to look almost like the tree is growing out of her. Tristian, taking his life into his hands, runs in and brings Bracken back to life. He says, Zara, my friend, I will heal him. Calm yourself. And he does so. Bracken still lies on the ground, but he might come up in his next turn, I'm not sure. Back to life. But Zara she just continues screaming. It's almost like she's screaming in an ancient tongue. Words are pouring from her mouth that sound like, to our ears, would sound maybe like Latin or something. They sound like they might be ways of a spell. They're just pouring forth. She also begins to speak in a language that the other parties can only hear as growls. She calls out to Bracken in a language of trying to infuse him with her very will. Weaving between this growl language and this ancient druidic Fey sister language, she just pours forth a torrent of words at Tartusio, which makes him consider backing up if he would not be struck down from behind by the enlarged harem's blade. Yes! He's up! He's alive! Hit him! Kill him! Okay, he misses. You know, you've just come back from death. I can grant you a couple. Don't worry. Don't worry. Wow, he actually got up. That's amazing. Suddenly, Zara yells, Bracken! Bracken! And as if by magic, those roots of the trees, the thorns in her body, her face begins to clear. She comes back into herself. Bracken, please kill him. Yes! 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 Woo! That was awesome. Bracken, being pulled from the very maw of death, is angrier. It's not even, his anger isn't this fire, this intensity like his beloved Zara. No, his anger is this cold, calculated, single-pointed attention on his foe. His eyes, his pupils become like pinpoints. His whiskers bristle. His fur stands up on end. His tail is pointed out like a battle brush. He says just 2 words to Tartusio, very calm, before striking him down. You die. Tartusio has genuine fear in his eyes as Bracken leans in, chomping into Tartusio's neck, and then slashing his claws across his chest, and down Tartusio falls, a dead gnome. And we defeated Tartusio. Zara is back to her normal self, the ancient magic infusing her pain and rage having subsided. She smiles wearily at Bracken and then leans down and takes her body and throws it on the leopard, grasping him around the neck, patting his head, kissing his whiskers, and hugging him. Bracken is all she can say. He growls and gives low rumbles, purring in his chest. Little one, little one. Though you found me as a cub, I feel that the tables have turned. And I consider you my little cub. And Zara says, and forever, I hope you may do so. I will gladly be your little cub, and you can be mine. The party leaves them for a moment, and then Zara stands up and brushes the dirt from her knees. As they come out, she and Bracken stay very close to each other, not wanting to let the other out of their sight. They come to the exit of the Sycamore Hall and meet Bdaah, Queen of the Mites, and to Zara's great surprise, Chief Suitscale, Chief of the Kobolds. They look askance at each other, their rage barely suppressed. But even though scimitar is at the ready and spear is also at the ready of each other, they do not attack. Warrior Queen Bdaah calls out, "You promise you find truth. Open it soon. You find shaman?" In the clash between the kobolds and the mites, Zara acted as a neutral arbitrator of their dispute. Zara tells the truth and says, stepping forward, Bracken padding right next to her, "I do tell the truth. My party, no, my friends, can attest to that. Tartuk deceived everyone. Me, Jessa. He deceived you," she points at Warrior Queen Bdaah, "and you, Chief Suitscale. It was he who stole the sycamore branch from the kobolds to make war with the mites. He attacked me, and he was killed by my companion, Bracken. Now I possess both sacred branches." She shows them to them. "Treacherous! Treason!" "No." Warrior Queen Bdaah says, "You are wrong. You wrong. I know Purple Hide traitor. I saw him. He say sweet words to Queen Bdaah. He make me think that he good, and then he only make his way to a hall." Chief Suitscale crosses his arms, refusing to believe her words, looking away from her. "Psst," he hisses. "Now that you know the truth, you must give up this needless feud. Live together in peace once more. The true aggressor here has received his just punishment. There is no more to fight over. Stop this bloodshed." She holds out a branch to each of them. "For you. And for you. Take these with your promise that you will bring peace to this area. Stop your feuding. Stop your murder. Stop your killing. Say it is so, or the branches stay in my hand. The chief reaches out for the branch. His eyes are full of sorrow. As his hand touches the branch, it's almost as if the hypnotism that could have been in his mind leaves, eases itself, releases itself, and he is reasonable once more. Much blood is shed. Not easy forget. He looks over at Queen Bdaah, resentful. But we struggle. No might do evil deeds again. No take our relic. You, friend. You welcome guest. Always. And then he clasps the little relic in his hand and holds it to his chest. His second in command stands behind him, nodding his head, as grave as a little kobold's face can get. Warrior Queen Bdaah is not to be undone in her graciousness. She sees that Chief Suitscale's head is bowed, thinking over his regrets. She says, shaking her head thoughtfully, "Was much death. Hard forget bad blood." She also looks over at the kobold. And then her eyes grow distant for a minute as she remembers that all of this was started by that sly traitor and a bit of a Lothario, Tartuk. At least he got the same as my ex-husband deserves. But because of that pain, I am wise queen. I find other way. No killed kobold no more. Ally, you brave and fair, and not as beautiful as I, but close. Be our precious guest, big beauty, now, always. And the mites behind the queen say, big beauty, big human, big beauty, big beauty, says an old mite, looking at Zara with adoring eyes. So adoring that Zara starts to feel a little bit nervous. Octavia shakes her head. You are amazing. You've managed to get them to reconcile, freeing slaves, saving your friend's life. Is there nothing you cannot do? Good work. I thought a fight was inevitable. Tristian says, agreed. That is very good work, Zara Faye's sister, my friend. He really emphasizes that, my friend. You know, it looks like you may yet become a ruler of this realm. A worthy ruler. Zara says, I have no wish to rule over any realm. The land cannot be ruled over. I only want to clear the fog and go on my way. Tristan says, we shall see. We shall see. And with that wonderful sound of victory, our party will end this episode. What? Octavia is so enamored with Zara that she says, "I'd die for you." And then she mockingly falls on the ground in a death faint before hopping up and laughing. And with that, we're going to end this episode here. If you are here with me in the live stream, hang out with me. But if you are watching this later on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for joining me for more Pathfinder Kingmaker, the Enhanced Edition with the turn-based mod. This has been awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thank you, as always, for watching.